A very good afternoon, students. So, today we are going to see the rest of the topics in non functional acceptance testing. So, we have finished up with functional acceptance and we are dealing with non functional. So, functional requirements are very important as far as an application is concerned. But non functional requirements also are equally important because any application that is failing to meet the performance requirements won't be used for long. If an application is taking a long time to respond to user requests, then no client or no user will be actually willing to use such an application. Okay, that means that your application should have certain level of performance. Okay, it should handle certain amount of request, that is capacity related issues should be tackled by your application. So if your application has to be extended from a single user to multi user, or if your application is extended to have few more features added, and so that your application has to handle much more requests than before. So when this application is going to be extended, the application should cater to the greater needs or greater requests, or a large number of requests of the clients also has to be tackled by the application. So it's like as an application is put into use and it is used for quite some time, then only we'll feel that certain non-functional requirements are not being met by the application. Okay, so initially we won't feel that non-functional requirements are important, but as and when we put the application into use and we are going to use it for quite some time, then only we'll feel the importance of non-functional requirements. Okay, so these are also equally important as functional requirements are. Okay, so we are going to see what are the different aspects of non-functional testing, and we are focusing only on one aspect, one non-functional requirement, which is capacity. Okay, so last class also we started off with capacity testing, and now we are going to have the remaining topics of capacity testing learned. Okay, so by capacity testing we mean the amount of user requests that the application can handle at a particular time. Okay, so if it is provided with a lot of requests at one time, if it is provided with a very higher load, how it is able to tackle with that. Okay, so that is basically the intention behind capacity testing. So absolute measurements of capacity a system should ideally carry out in an environment is as closely possible, and it replicates the production environment in which the system is ultimately run. So we have to have all the behavior of any application to be tested should be the same. That is, the way in which we are going to test the application in the development environment, the very same way we got to test it for non-functional requirements in the production environment. So we have already seen the environment that we have in production should be identical to the environment that we have in development. So if we are testing the application with a certain number of requests in the development environment, we should try to test the application with this very same amount of capacity measured in the production environment as well. Okay, so the more closer your development environment is with the production environment, the more likely your application will satisfy the capacity test. Okay, so by capacity we focus on the number of user requests your application can handle at a particular point of time. So whenever I'm going to do capacity testing in the development environment and I try with 100 requests at one time, make sure I'm using the very same data, I'm using the very same capacity measure to test the application in the production environment. Yes, now we have an example here. See, whenever we have an application and the application has to be tested both functionally and non-functionally for acceptance, then we got to designate. It is like out of the different servers we have for the application to run on, we should designate certain servers specifically for measuring the application's performance. Okay, an example is given here. If your application is going to be deployed into 4 web servers, 8 application servers and 4 database servers. That is, I have 3 types of servers here. One is web server, second is application server, and the third one is database server. So my application is going to be deployed into such an atmosphere, such an environment in which I have 4 database servers, I have 4 web servers, and I have got 8 application servers in my application's operating environment. Then I got to designate, ideally I got to designate one among the web servers, one server among the 4 database servers, and 2 servers among the application servers. 8 application servers I got to designate for non-functional testing. Okay, this is just an example that is quoted. If I have totally 4 web servers, 4 database servers, and 8 application servers in my application's operating environment, then ideally, in order to test for non-functional requirements, I can designate one among the database servers. 4 database servers I have, one among that 4, then one among the 4 web servers, and 2 among the 8 application servers I can use for testing non-functional requirement. That is basically capacity testing. So I can set a capacity testing environment. I can set a capacity testing environment by using a subset of servers that are available in my application's operating environment. ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ്റെ ഓപ്പറേറ്റിംഗ് എൻവയോൺമെൻറ്റിൽ എത്ര സെർവേഴ്സ് അവൈലബിൾ ആണ്, അതിൽ നിന്നൊരു സബ്സെറ്റ് ഓഫ് സെർവേഴ്സിനെ ഞാൻ എടുത്തിട്ട് ഒരു കപ്പാസിറ്റി ടെസ്റ്റിംഗ് എൻവയോൺമെൻറ്റ് ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നു. Okay, so whenever my application is going to be deployed and it is going to be tested for non-functional acceptance, I will be deploying the application onto a capacity testing environment, a non-functional requirement testing environment, wherein I will be setting that environment by taking a subset of servers from the total number of servers which are available in my operating environment. Okay, hope it is clear. So this example is illustrated diagrammatically here. I have 4 database servers, I have 4 web servers, and I have got totally 8 application servers. Now out of this, this is my operating environment there, and this is the second diagram shows the capacity testing environment that I have set forth. So for that, out of the 4 web servers, I have taken 1 web server. Out of the 4 database servers, I have taken 1 database server, and out of the 8 application servers, I've taken 2 application servers out of the 8 available. Okay, so that is the way in which I can set a capacity testing environment. So when I set this particular environment in my development environment in order to test for capacity testing, the very same environment I got to set up in production as well. Okay, so my capacity testing environment is set using 1 web server, 1 database server, and 2 application servers. So this I set in my development environment, and very same way I will be setting it in the production environment as well. So that there is every possibility that any application is passing capacity test in the development environment will certainly pass capacity testing in the production. Okay, now we are moving on to the next topic, which is nothing but automating. See, we try to automate everything, right? In acceptance testing also we try to, functional acceptance also we try to automate functional acceptance testing. So likewise, here also we are trying to automate non-functional testing also. Okay, so we got to have a certain threshold to be set for success. See, how I can tell that my non-functional acceptance testing has been successful. So in order to prove that a particular testing technique was successful, I got to have my testing technique returning the results back to me within a certain threshold time that is set. Okay, I have certain threshold time that is set. Within that threshold time, my testing technique should return the values for me, should return the results for me. So that is the way in which I got to decide whether or not a testing technique is successful. Okay, so our testing should be of short duration so that the capacity testing can take place within reasonable amount of time. have a predefined threshold for success. So if the particular testing technique has not been completed within 10 minutes, or not minutes, ഒന്നും ആയിരിക്കില്ല, ശരിക്കും milliseconds ആയിരിക്കും. So within certain milliseconds, if my automated testing is not over, then I can conclude that the testing was a total failure. It was not a success. But if my automated testing technique is able to return the test results within certain milliseconds, which is set as the threshold, then I can tell that my testing technique was successful. Then be robust in the face of change. That means if there should not be constant reworking on the non-functional acceptance test case. നമ്മൾ പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്യുന്ന ടെസ്റ്റ് കേസ് എപ്പോഴും നമുക്ക് മോഡിഫൈ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ആവശ്യം വരരുത്. It should be something which is generalistic. Okay, so as and when I try to modify my application, I should not be in a position that every time I got to make numerous changes to my test cases. Okay, so as far as possible, your test case should be robust enough to adjust itself to the changes that you make to the application. Application change ചെയ്യുന്നതനുസരിച്ച് എപ്പോഴും ടെസ്റ്റ് കേസിനെ മോഡിഫൈ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ആവശ്യം വരരുത്. ടെസ്റ്റ് കേസസ് should be robust enough to go through the application, all aspects of the application, even though applications features or changes are going to be applied to it timely. So be composable into large scale complex scenarios, so that we can simulate real world patterns. So whenever we are going to test any application, you should actually use data which is simulating real world values. It's not like you supply some good value so that it will always give you good results. So we should try out, whenever we move in for testing, you should try out to test the application with real world values. Your application should be put into a real world scenario and it should be put to test. You should see whether the application will be able to meet real world data, whether it will be able to tackle with real world scenarios. Be repeatable, capable of running sequentially and parallel. So your test cases should be prepared in such a way. Your automated acceptance testing techniques should be prepared in such a way that they can go in parallel. We have seen already. In order to have very fast testing to be possible, I need to have my test cases go in parallel as far as possible. So whenever I go in for automation, that helps me to have testing done faster. You should also focus on doing things in parallel. Okay, so I should prepare test cases that can go in parallel. Any test case that is focusing on two different aspects of an application can always go in parallel. If my test case for performance is testing one aspect of the application, I can prepare capacity test cases to test for capacity testing of that particular aspect, the capacity load aspect of the application. Okay, so see, a performance testing test case will be testing whether the application is able to return results within certain amount of time. Whereas my capacity test cases will test how much amount of input data, how much user requests the application can handle at one time. Okay, so I can have two different test cases which focus on two different aspects of the application to go in parallel. I can do usability testing, I can do performance testing in parallel. I can do capacity testing, I can do reliability testing in parallel. Okay, so likewise, any two test cases which are focusing on two different aspects of an application can go in parallel. Now creating, so that is all regarding creating automated capacity test. Okay, so normally in order to easily prepare, see, I will be doing out of the two types of acceptance testing, that is functional and non-functional. I will be doing functional acceptance testing first, then only I will be moving on to test for non-functional. Okay, so one best way to prepare non-functional requirements test cases is to modify the functional acceptance test cases. Okay, so those test cases which I have used to have functional acceptance tested, the very same test case with modifications I can use for non-functional testing. So that is the best way by which I can have non-functional test cases to be got very fast. So I can base my non-functional acceptance test cases on the functional acceptance test cases which I have prepared before. Okay. So that is all regarding creating automated acceptance test and how to start with test execution. Okay, how to start with test execution. What are the different points in which you can focus on? Okay, what are the different points through which you can have your acceptance testing done? One is through user interface. This we have already seen, testing via user interfaces. So this is a very testing via user interface is a very bad technique. That is, it's not actually advisable to have testing done via user interface, because whenever your test cases are based on the user interface, whenever you change or alter your test case, it is like you got to have your user interfaces are getting changed, means your test cases also got to change. So never you should base your test case on user interfaces, because user interfaces is something which normally gets altered every now and then. So if you're going to have your test cases based on the user interface, then it will be like you will be you have to change the test cases every now and then, as in when the user interfaces change. Okay. Okay, so we'll continue. I had a disturbance in between, kindly excuse. Capacity testing via user interface is disadvantageous just because we have whenever we do capacity testing via user interface, then whenever user interfaces change, the test cases also need to be changed. Okay, now we'll be learning another one. So basically, it's not like you cannot use cases, that is you cannot prepare test cases based on user interface. You can, but there is one major default is that, one major disadvantage is that whenever you change the user interface, you got to change the test case. Okay, so you have to have recording. The next topic we have here is recording user interactions. Okay, so this is one best method whereby you can make things go much more faster. See, here in this aspect, we normally try to have things done much more faster. That is why we go in for automation. So when we go in for automation, we prepare something called as interaction template. Okay, we have something called interaction template, which helps us to have acceptance testing done via user interfaces to go much more faster. Okay, so I can prepare something called as interaction templates. Now this interaction template is nothing but it is just a template that you prepare in which the normal interactions are put, and the only difference you will be having is you need to populate the necessary data only. In the template, you need to populate the necessary data. Okay, a template ഒരു എന്താ പറയുക ഒരു സ്ട്രക്ചർ ആയിരിക്കും. ആ സ്ട്രക്ചറിൽ നമുക്ക് വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഡേറ്റ ഇട്ട് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് എളുപ്പം ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാം. സോ വൺസ് യു ഹാവ് ദി ടെംപ്ലേറ്റ്, ദ ഫാസ്റ്റർ യുവർ ടെസ്റ്റിംഗ് വിൽ പ്രൊസീഡ്. അപ്പോൾ this is using interaction template. So we have recording interactions via user interface. User interface is one area wherein you can have testing done. ഒരു ഡോർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ യൂസർ ഇൻ്റർഫേസ് ആണ്. അടുത്തത് you can do testing via public API. So you can use APIs, public APIs, in order to do your capacity testing. So this strategy can be used in applications wherein a public API, application programming interface, other than graphical user interface, can be used as a web service. Okay, so other than testing capacity via user interface, I can have a public API that can be used for testing capacity. Then next is using interaction templates. So that is the point I have. In order to improve the capacity testing time taken to do capacity testing, I can use recorded interaction templates. I can use interaction templates. Now what is interaction template is, see, this is an acceptance test case here in this diagram. I can have an acceptance test case there and the corresponding interaction template. See there. So it's like order number is equal to something, customer ID, I can have ordered items, then order item product code. Okay, these are the different things I have in my acceptance test case. Okay, these are the things I'm going to provide as input to acceptance testing, automated acceptance testing. And in order to prepare this test case fast, I can prepare an interaction template. I can prepare beforehand, much before the actual testing starts, I can prepare an interaction template. Okay, this interaction template will help me to have my interaction to be done. That is, this particular interaction template will be helping me to prepare my acceptance test cases much more faster. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ കറസ്പോണ്ടിങ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഇൻട്രാക്ഷൻ ടെംപ്ലേറ്റ് ആണ് ഇത്. സി ഓർഡർ നമ്പർ. അപ്പോൾ ഈ വാല്യൂസ് മാത്രം നമ്മൾ പോപ്പുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്താൽ മതി. ഇങ്ങനത്തെ ടെംപ്ലേറ്റ്സ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ ഓരോ സ്ക്രീനിനും ഓരോ യൂസർ ഇൻ്റർഫേസിനും ഇതുപോലത്തെ ടെംപ്ലേറ്റ്സ് വി പ്രിപ്പയർ. ഓക്കെ, സോ വൺസ് യു ഹാവ് ദിസ് ടെംപ്ലേറ്റ് വിത്ത് യു, ഈച്ച് ടൈം യു വോണ്ട് ടു ടെസ്റ്റ് യു നീഡ് ടു പോപ്പുലേറ്റ് ദിസ് ടെംപ്ലേറ്റ് സിംപ്ലി വിത്ത് വാല്യൂസ്. ഇതിൽ വാല്യൂ ഇട്ട് കൊടുത്താൽ പോരെ ഓരോ തവണ ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ. അപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെ ഓരോ സ്ക്രീനിനും ഓരോ യൂസർ ഇൻ്റർഫേസിനും നമ്മൾ ഇതുപോലത്തെ ഇൻട്രാക്ഷൻ ടെംപ്ലേറ്റ്സ് ഇഫ് യു പ്രിപ്പയർ, ദെൻ യു നീഡ് ടു ജസ്റ്റ് പ്രൊവൈഡ് ഇൻ ഡേറ്റ ടു ദി ടെംപ്ലേറ്റ് ഇൻ ഓർഡർ ടു ഡു ദി കപ്പാസിറ്റി ടെസ്റ്റിംഗ്. ഓക്കെ, ദെൻ നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഇസ് കപ്പാസിറ്റി ടെസ്റ്റ് സ്റ്റാബ്സ് ടു ഡെവലപ്പ് ടെസ്റ്റ്. ടെസ്റ്റ് സ്റ്റബിൻ്റെ കേസ് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞായിരുന്നു. ടെസ്റ്റ് സ്റ്റബിനെ കുറിച്ച് പഠിപ്പിച്ചപ്പോൾ സ്റ്റബിൻ്റെ കേസ് പറഞ്ഞായിരുന്നു. So for capacity testing in very high performance system, the complexity of writing capacity tests can overweigh the complexity of writing code that is fast enough to pass it. Therefore, it's essential to assert that a test can test all rates necessary to assert a pass. Nothing but, see, whenever you write capacity tests, if the test cases are taking much more time, or if the time taken to prepare capacity test case is much more than the time taken to write the code, then it is very time crucial, because I am taking so and so time to finish writing the code, then I am taking some more time, double the time I have taken to write the code to prepare the test case. It is not always advisable. Okay, so that is why I am using this sort of templates, so that I can have the templates populated simply with values so as to prepare my test cases. Okay, so and also we can add capacity testing to the deployment pipeline. Actually, this acceptance test stage itself is the second stage in the deployment pipeline. Okay, so I can have acceptance testing, functional acceptance testing, non-functional. So I can actually include capacity testing also to be a part of my deployment pipeline. Okay. Okay, so this is all regarding capacity test stage and automating capacity test. So the last point I had was I can automate capacity testing and I can do capacity testing. I can include capacity testing as a stage in the deployment pipeline as well. Okay, so thank you for your patient listening. The rest will cover in the next class.